Welcome to this live stream. Well, it's good, dog. Yeah, I thought it was you. I'm just chilling. Yeah, I just kind of woke up like an hour ago and just kind of, it's like, fuck it, just hop on a live stream. What I'm probably going to do later today is I feel I'm actually going to Lon McQuaid to just like look at some amps, and I'm definitely just going to like pop on there and just like live stream and do a bunch of like, just try a bunch of guitars. Like I've been doing that. So that'll be fun. Thanks, dog. Yeah, this is my like acid washed jacket. I think it's called like it's a Titan jacket. Got it at a music festival. It's very punk rock. Remember to allow yourself to let your actions guide your experience. I find a lot of times in reality, it's kind of like, what I've noticed historically is like our felt experience is often what contextualizes, the experiences that we have. And our mind often, say if it's like exploring new creative dimensions, or maybe you're training, doing a style of strength training or something. It's kind of like your mind doesn't always have context to your felt experience. That's why I feel it's so important to just in the simplest right, let your actions guide your experience. Opposed to the other way around. Because in many rights I really feel some of the most important and potent endeavors. Even today I woke up and was kind of just reflecting on some trippy dreams I had. I had some very trippy dreams. Kind of was like I was in a movie, but I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do with my day. But I felt pretty good about going to Lon McQuaid and doing some streaming and etc. But it's the importance of just showing up, engaging. Welcome. What's good, Mason? Just showing up and letting yourself, like, for example, if you're on a stream and you just kind of like, you're curious of different intervals and dimensions of when you desire to stream. When you're like, word, I wonder what happens if I stream at 1 in the morning or 6 in the morning. Both really good times to stream, I found. You never know what's going to occur. You never know what's going to occur. I'm just simply acting. Oh, bro, it's... I've been reading about lucid dreaming, like, continually. Literally, I was at the library for like an hour and a half yesterday. And I don't know, like, what I feel this dream, like, let me try to recall it. Damn, like, bro, it was... What even happened? Oh man, yeah, I kind of like pushed it into my subconscious. But if I remember recall, it was basically in a futuristic dimension. Where was I? It was a futuristic dimension, I think on a spaceship, but I was living in like a very like emotionally contextual experience in the spaceship. Like that's the essence of what I can explain is I was literally like on a spaceship. Yo, what's good, Corgi? Yeah, of course, dog. We all friends here. But legitimately, like this dream was it wasn't about the semblance of it. It was oh yes. Oh yes. It was a bizarre dream where basically I was with a woman. Like this was like a woman that was a partner of mine. It was like a type of partner that we were kind of like on this spaceship, and all I remember was she was very promiscuous. So she was very like, and the sort of context of it was we were supposed to be doing something important. Like we were on the spaceship, we were supposed to be doing important stuff, but for some reason we were just making love and stuff, and I was just kind of like, I was like, man, I got more important things to do, but then it's just like we're on this spaceship. Well, this was the dream. There was a lot of deeply emotionally contextual symbolism that I think was the essence of it, which I'm trying to sort of sit with. But what I think is interesting is, from what I've understood about lucid dreams, I almost felt like for some reason, this dream was so like uncanny and bizarre. It was almost so surreal beyond reality that I was like, I feel like at some point I should have been able to wake myself up. Like I should have been like, this is a dream. This isn't real. None of this is real. This couldn't be real. And then begin to control the dream or like begin to go lucid. But I didn't for whatever reason. I still have to figure out the exact mentality. I'll figure it out though. I feel confident. I'm very good at unpackaging things. You know, it's like there's something difficult you got to figure out. I'm just like, man, this is going to be difficult, but I'm going to figure it out. And lucid dreaming is one of those things. It's interesting because, you know, a lot of times her energy felt familiar. Like I think she was like an archetype of woman that I've met, but she was not, she was definitely foreign. She was like maybe someone that I was about to meet or was going to meet. I don't know, it was very bizarre. She could definitely be resemblant of like energies of my previous partner or like one of the women I'm seeing, but I was seeing. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting place. I think what I'm taking away from a lot of these dreams is kind of just my mind seems to very much love and desire cinema, like cinematic, you know, contextual themes. It's almost like the more I've been remembering my dreams and sitting with my dreams, it's almost like a lot of my dreams are like movies. Which makes sense because I work on film sets sometimes. Gotta remember these microtones, baby. These beautiful harmonic microtones. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jacob Collier. I've been watching a lot of Jacob Collier interviews and just kind of going through his music again because it's funny. I used to not be a fan of Jacob Collier. Like I first came across him, I was like, man, who is this guy? Like why is he so intellectualized? But he's like a creative genius, supposedly. But the more I discovered all the films. I mean, deadass. What I do is I'm more like background in commercials, or in like TV and television. So that's not. So it's like I've been in like Last of Us, Percy Jackson, like Facebook commercials, like freaking Skip the Dishes commercials, just random stuff. It's like whatever. I'm actually relatively new to it, but yeah, It's fun though. But legitimately, for some reason, my dream realm likes to be very cinematic. This is what I've noticed, and I love it because like when I remember them, it's not like cinema that you'd be like, oh, this is so beautiful and profound. It's like cinema that's just like, whoa, like this is profoundly layered. Where it's like, you're maybe watching a war movie or watching like some sort of like, bizarre sort of like non-fictional or fictional type thing. Stuff I probably would not watch. I've been really liking this riff. Oh man, some of your most interesting dreams using only music. That'll be a tricky one. I mean, I find it's almost like I gotta be in very specific states to be able to channel, say, energies of people or like vivid landscapes. But I mean, I could try. Okay, let's give this a shot. But I don't know, one of my favorite dreams was basically I entered a martial arts studio. Or it was like a dojo. I entered this like massive, like ancient dojo. And when I entered this place, I was surrounded by a massive array of all these different people. People of all different ages, all different ethnicities, all different types. They were all engaging in this kind of surreal, I would say, reality-defying martial art. It was basically like they were doing martial arts, but in a dream, everyone was doing like Matrix-like backflips. They're doing backflips off each other and like morphing and doing all these beautiful things. And I was just like, this. This is extraordinary. And then from there, I basically walked into these beaded curtains, right? And then there I was greeted by these two ancient kung fu masters. One was like in all black and one was in all white, like they were like yin and yang. And basically they came to me and said, "Do you understand?" And then I remember just being present with them. And then I said, I do. I understand. And then the moment that I said that, they're like, we're happy to have you here, or something like that. And then from there, everything started to just like zoom out and like fractalize. It was like almost like at this point on, this is when the dream took a very interesting turn. It was essentially, I felt like I just like took DMT or something, and then everything zoomed out and began to morph into this like multicolor, vivid like nature landscape. It was like I was on the top of a mountain, But in this mountain, everything was like vivid and like hyper real, and everything was like vivid colors. But I could like see the rivers flowing through the mountains. Like I was on a beautiful like mountain. I don't know how to describe that with chords, but let's try maybe some of these beautiful. Nah. That kind of suits that. Basically, yeah, I was in this hyper real, like beautiful, like mountain landscape. Right? It was like vivid and it was very colorful. And then from there, I turned into a ball of energy. Where I literally was just like, I was this like floating ball of energy where I could basically flow through this mountain. And then I started to like flow down the river. And yeah, from there, I basically started to just like become one with the river. And after that, then I woke up. I need more rosin for that. But yeah, basically, this was right around the time when I started training martial arts and doing LSD. I just had this dream where I was like, damn, like, and then I woke up feeling like euphoric, like literally like I was on LSD, but it had been like a solid week since I did the LSD. But this realization was kind of like an affirmation that I desired to practice and train martial forms. Where I was like, ah, and it was bizarre because it was the most like DMT esque type of dream. And this was kind of the first time that I realized how powerful dreams are. Because I remember this dream vividly. Like the reality of it was like I remembered every detail to this day. And this dream was like 10, maybe 14 years ago or something, or 14, 15 years ago. But this dream was so vivid, like it just shook the core of my being where I was just like, wow. That was fun. I actually enjoyed that. Well, I feel like I did better compositionally than I thought. Because I think the nature of like intuitively conveying the dream in relation to how it reads musically, it definitely plays out very well. And it's interesting, I found over the years, yeah, thank you so much, brother. I found over the years, yeah, definitely it's like martial arts has definitely been like not only a spiritual and psychological conquest, but it's weird. It's almost like many things in life. I've noticed that when we begin to walk on that road to mastery, like it's guitar was the same thing, martial arts, dance, we basically become so like heavily bound with this experience. That is, we basically begin to validate ourselves with this. It feeds our ego where it's like, oh, this is amazing. It makes you feel like, like you are an empowered and highest expression of yourself for a period. It's like when I was training these martial forms so continually, it was like I would be so enthralled where I was like, this really lets me be my most empowered dimension of myself, like in the realest way. But anyways, what I've noticed is in this quest of unpackaging these practices, you'll notice in time, for me, it's usually about 6, 7 years in, you'll notice this pivotal point when you recognize that you don't desire to validate yourself anymore with these expressions, with these practices, with these disciplines. And this is a very pivotal point because this is also usually the moment where you have to strip your ego from your identity to this experience. You're just like, you just recognize that, oh, I'm not quintessentially just a artist or a musician or a martial artist or, I don't know, a dancer or this or that. You just realize, or an athlete or whatever, right? It's like you recognize that you as a person are free to sort of like embody any dimension of self, and it should always be this way. It's like I think there's a lot of mental and creative blocks and almost like philosophical blockages that occur when we try to heavily identify, to hold on and grasp on to some domain of self, when in reality we are beyond this identity. We're formless. We can be whatever we want. We can wake up one day, but you know what? I'm going to heavily lean into this domain of self and be the most philosophical, psychological, whatever. You can just be whatever you desire to be. And the more that we allow ourselves to loosen that grip on the identity of, but I'm only this, or I have to be this, or I have to pour my energy to this, it almost like allows you to detach from this egoic, validative addiction to these dimensions. And this is what I've noticed is like over the years, and martial arts was probably one of the most gripping, like difficult things to come to terms with. Where it was like, I was like, man, this is a thing that has nourished me for so many years, at least these martial arts studios I trained with. And it was like, it was so difficult to let go and be like, no, but I know I need to let go to embody the next dimension of my existence as a person. You know, wherever I'm meant to be, I have to like completely surrender. And it's very difficult. It's harmonics. Very nice. 21 minutes. A basom and a wand. That is so cool. Wow. I'm going to try to pronounce your name. Angrabo Aloki. Wow. Practice Icelandic witchcraft. Right on. Iceland. I really like that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love to hear about that. I mean, I personally, in my own accord, I practice various practices that I say is channeling things that almost people would say is like sorcerer, like like I dance in a way where I'm like moving energy, and I love that stuff. I'm just saying simply, it's like that resonates. And then weirdly enough, I've actually always been deeply attracted to Iceland for some reason. I don't know why. Like I've actually had this intention when I learn Swedish and go to Iceland and explore like Sweden. I mean, it's a thing. I don't know. It's gonna take a lot of preparation, but for some reason, it's just calling me. That's really cool. That's actually really dope. 1000%. Like I feel like literally just organically, the more that I've basically connected deeper to what I would say is source and sort of like a sort of divine energy without even trying to do so, just by like, I don't know, empowering myself via creative dimensions and going on psychedelic conquest. I've just noticed, you know, innately, it's almost organically, I love resonating with that. I guess it's the magician archetype. Like this is quintessentially, as it's known, like the magician archetype for men. You know, I personally, I'm not insanely familiar, at least on a intellectualized level, but I've been very resonant with the archetypes. Like I remember there was a period when I was learning about like energy dynamics and transmuting energy, and I would read about the archetypes, you know, the masculine archetypes. And I personally found myself very curious. Like before even reading about them, I was always very resonant with them, where I was like, these are certain elements of all the archetypes that I am intuitively embodying and then learning in time to understand where my next conquest is. And actually, this is beautiful where I'm talking about this, because full circle, this embodiment, like growing this YouTube channel, you know, creating this this community via this passion pursuit, this is my embodiment of the king archetype, you know, of the father archetype, the king father archetype, to create something that is beyond self, where it's like I've historically, I found myself very rooted in all the other masculine archetypes, you know, very successfully, like the warrior archetype. I've spent many years devoting and forging and developing this integrated relationship, as the lover archetype, as, yeah, all these archetypes. But the reality is like the king archetype was like the one that I was like, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, but this YouTube channel, becoming a content creator, actually is learning to develop and branch off into basically unifying and teaching and offering this. And it's beautiful. I haven't thought about that for various years, but the archetypes, they're very beautiful, even if we just like I definitely find it interesting when women explain like the feminine archetypes and their journey. Ooh. Especially I found very intriguing, what is it? The immature dimensions of the archetypes or the underdeveloped archetypes. Definitely needs more rosin for that. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I found definitely. There's a huge reason why I love. Many reasons. I'll be honest. Why I love streaming and why I love like YouTube communities and TikTok personally. Like I've not been a fan of TikTok historically, but I really love random people like connecting with them on a resonance level where it's like random people like just reaching out and being like like I stream a lot where I go in nature. I'll probably do a nature stream probably in a little bit. I'm also gonna go Long McQuaid and do a stream, but the idea is that certain people they're just like they see this and it's just like this is so resonant. They're like you're connecting musically in nature. They hear the birds, they hear the river, and they're just like this, like this. And certain people they see the guitar, which is like the core intention of this channel, and then it's an invitation, right? It's an invitation for them to connect, to reach out, to learn to unify themselves with this portal, with this community portal that is YouTube. I'm gonna pop over into my other amp. Let's see what this is. Let's see how this goes. I'm using right now a Black Star Fly amp. This is my portable amp, but I have my second portable amp. What's going on? Roblox blocks. Word. See, the second amp, I have a Black Star Fly amp, and also I have a Vox portable amp. Yeah. It's interesting, I've recently, I'm kind of show you here in this little orb, I'm using this beautiful treble clef golden light. This is like a lamp. It's a neon lamp. That's what's creating my backlight. Yeah, you can kind of see it in this reflection. But anyways, the idea. Yeah, there we are. This is a very nice sound. Very buttery. Like I love the other amp for the clarity that it produces in my legatos, but then Picasso really shines with this Vox amp. This is what I primarily use when I'm doing sound journeys. Very calibrated. It's like a traveling dimension, like traveling dimensions. Very true. Yeah. Absolutely. It's like I really see it as like it's a portal. These are portals, and really like, yeah, I really feel very significantly attached or just grateful to streams where it's like I recognize that I've only been doing this for about 3 weeks now, and I've never been a part of like the streaming community particularly. I've never really even consumed streams, but I've actually considered myself, the more I've crystallized my intention with being a content creator, it's actually been synonymous with busking, being a busker. That's actually how I started this channel, this portal, is I developed a busking act where I was like, I had this like deep, like just yearning intention, like I desire to build a busking act. I didn't necessarily know why, I just knew I needed to go out there and push myself out of my comfort zone. This was like 9 months ago. And then fast forward to now, it's almost like what I've recently recognized is I love this dimension of basically being like a virtual or like a visceral bard. Like it's like a troubadour bard. It's like, it almost feels like that. Thank you. It feels good where it's like I literally be like walking around like my community and people will be like, whoa, you're like walking around with the guitar, like what, so you're just roving playing music? And I'm like, yeah, bro. This is just streaming. It's great where it literally feels like I'm just here to just like put out a message musically, but also just I speak. Like energetic and philosophical things that just flow through. I do though. That's the thing. That's the thing, bro. It's like I legit with this baby. I pop this in my bag, and and I walk around like I'm like roving, and I play. Like I walk around forests, walk around cities. That's kind of been the idea of what I've recently discovered. Is like I can stream, and I can show you. I like use this little setup here. I just place my camera right mounted on my guitar. And it works really well. Where it's like I can yeah, basically attach this baby, and then it allows me to also gives you a good POV so you can see exactly what I'm playing. And then I can just like walk around. I'll actually, what I'll do is partway through this stream, I'll set up and go for a walk through Westwood, because that's what I was gonna do anyways. Because it's like misty right now in Westwood. It's nice. Can't see the guitar much. Word. Facts. Can't see the guitar much. I mean, true. I could improve the angle a little bit. Appreciate the feedback. I think the entire intention of it though is more so when I'm roving, like when I'm walking around, I'm trying to share the music, but also more so share the environment. And share the environment of like the forest or the cityscape around me. Like that's kind of the intention with the roving dimension. Yeah. But I feel you, brother. I definitely feel like I personally, an intention of why I desire to create these streams is for people to see, like people to have, like even here, let's like give a good visceral view of the guitar playing, because that's what I want this channel to really be about, is people finding a place where they can pick up riffs and pieces of this that they can then apply to their own music. Let's find a good way to put this tripod. But in essence, yeah, it's like I really enjoy this frontal view. I definitely really enjoy this dynamic. I do listen to some Tool. Not a lot, but more so I've had people recommend Pucifer to me. But yeah, I appreciate the style. Any Tool songs that you'd recommend? Definitely know I've listened to some of their music because it's just like they're very, very infamous, very well known. Vicky, Wings from Mary, Word, Lattice. I think I've actually listened to Lattice. Yeah, not all of it, but yeah, that was the one part. Mm, Word, I love this. Recommend Schism. I like that word, schism. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, actually, no, there was a song I wrote like a while ago when I was new to songwriting that someone told me sounded a lot like Pucifer. That's kind of how I discovered Tool and Pucifer. Hmm. Always such chill. Cool to find peace someday. Bro, I mean, yeah, I would say I've always been like very joyful, but I definitely have had to integrate. Like, it's almost like, I'll be honest, when I'm not living in my highest expression of self, I definitely notice there's a lot of turbulence. Like, there's a lot of like heavy energy I need to transmute. But I just certainly found there was many parts of my life, like especially my teenage years, when I was very intense. Like, it was kind of like, and I think that's pretty normal. Like, when I was like 14, 14 to 20, I was like a very like intense dude. I mean, I was also very like, I'm very playful and very joyful in the essence of it. But I was, when I'm integrating and working through a lot of stuff, I have a tendency to almost like put on a mask. And I did this a lot as a teen, where like I would be like, it's almost like I was playing a character where I'd be like kind of jaded, kind of intense, and yeah. Hey, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you, Alex Hayes. Thanks for chiming in, man. But very much, it's like I would see the way that I really strongly believe this is when we are not on our highest path, like when we are, say, we have a high calling and we're not answering this calling, and we understand this, there's a painful amount of like turbulence and conflict. And this highest path doesn't necessarily need to be like, the most like illustrious, exquisite sort of path. Like, we all have unique paths, but I think it's that which allows us to feel fulfilled and valued. And when we're not living that aligned truth or living that authentic truth, I feel it causes like a split in the way we experience things, in the way we experience ourselves, and the way we experience others. So, yeah, I think the more that I've basically been able to align myself with my most organic, authentic self. So, my authentic self isn't necessarily like happy, blissful. I love to embody those realms when I'm like celebrating and grateful for existence. But I'm very okay with being like I'll be honest, the large majority of the self of Ryan, like the embodiment of myself that I think has brought me to great places and really allowed me to integrate a lot of truth, is the one that is like indomitable, is like very fiery, is very like passionate, and is very, I would say, deliberate with his choices. It's like the Ryan that has to make difficult choices, that has to have difficult conversations, that has to, really just through grits and very much lots of tenacity, do what needs to be done. Be it if it's like training hard or engaging, making incredibly important decisions in my life. So it's like bliss is the byproduct of living your most authentic truth. So I feel we all have the capacity to find that, to just live authentically in whatever expression that is. But I think for those that are fragmented, that are split off from their truth, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to just naturally emanate joy and bliss and love. And the essence of it, that's our natural state, right? And I think, honestly, too, like in the simplest right to all of that, I feel very grateful for this. Like this, I've spoken about this many times on my streams before with I've been playing guitar since I was like probably about 9 years old. And like the way I've seen, like, let's just talk about in the simplest way guitar, learning an instrument and improvising and learning to like emotionally contextualize your feelings and transmute this into energy, like transmute the energy into expression. That is extremely good for the brain, for the psyche, for the identity of self, for the perception of self. Like it's a very powerful thing, I feel. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just riffing here. But the reality of it is, yeah, guitar is a portal. Like all musician or creating music, any given dimension of it's all portal. And the more that you allow yourself to recognize the value of this, be like, oh, word, this is a powerful, powerful divine tool. As in, you treat it as such, you'll notice the natural byproduct is, a lighter, more playful, I'd say, experience of reality. Like, I really feel like the more that I've just embodied my deepest truth of just being a performance artist, not just a musician, like performance artist as a whole, I've 1000% just been naturally lighter. I've been more extraordinarily passionate about applying myself in ways that I need. Because the thing is, like, in the simplest way, it's like I think it's important to apply yourself, like to work hard, to be disciplined, but it's more so about being disciplined towards things that you're genuinely deeply passionate about. Yeah, it's definitely, it's like internally and also like somatically healing. Like this is actually what I think the more I've understood like somatics, like the somatic body, the nervous system, and even just in extension, the energetic body. What I think, what my intention is with this, like with what I'm here for right now, even, is I'm here to offer a somatic experience, a felt experience. I'm doing this not only for myself, but naturally for the viewer. I'm introducing like a resonance pattern, a vibration. And this is what I feel is like, even if you're just like, in your own room and you're playing a guitar or if you're singing, you're letting yourself feel and be essentially attuned by this vibration. And this is where I feel my style of music has naturally just gravitated towards like sound journeys, meditative resonance patterns, because this is what feels good to me. Like this is kind of, I've spoke about this a lot a couple days ago, where I love writing music. Like I love writing punk rock, progressive rock, psychedelic rock. I love all genres of music. I love writing it all. It's beautiful. But for some reason, what has like resonated with my soul has been this like meditative, um, yeah, this like meditative sort of like gypsy style, classic style, like sound journey type music. This is the music that it's just healed me so deeply that I'm just like, this is what has been flowing through. So it makes sense. I'd say that it's just naturally what is protruded, where it's like this is just what has resonated with me so much when I'm like in my lowest lows or in my highest highs, and I'm just like, this makes sense to me to pursue this style of music and just do it because it feels good. And then the more that I did this, it just made sense to me. I was like, oh, there's a reason why these like core healing meditative styles of music resonate with me, especially when I'm living like a path that resonates with this. hit my guitar and then disconnected my preamp. Yeah, it really just comes down to, yeah, just what humans are just like really in the deepest level, especially in like a spiritual sense, what they resonate with. I also deeply feel strongly about dance because I actually found for me, guitar is basically synonymous with dance. Like it's maybe not orthodox, but it's like I'm very much like I do a style of dance that engages in the same muscle memory that is in guitar, and I actually use them almost as a means to like cross train them. So I'm very fluent in dance. Like that's a huge part of my life. Like I very much just go to like, you know, raves and ecstatic dances, and I just dance for hours and hours and hours, and I direct all that creative energy into music, into content creation. And the simplest way, it makes sense, right? The muscle memory is the exact same. Like I remember, it's like this muscle memory. This is all identical. Very similar ranges of motion, same movement pathways that is experienced. The same rhythm, same musicality. It's all exercising the exact same thing, but on a different dimension and to different styles of music. And also with other people, which is really, really fun. Like I've literally met my last like 3 partners all through dance, you know. I've ever been to a mosh pit? I have not, actually. Actually, that's not true. There's been a couple mosh pits at shows I've been at. But yeah. I've never been a part of a mosh pit, but they look kind of fun. Like if I were to go to like more punk rock shows or metal shows, I could definitely see them. I think the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it up. I have some things gotta prepare. Wow, I could probably still do nice outdoor live stream. Lately, I've been trying to experiment with kind of tricky sometimes. Just so many textures. And of course, it's just like, keep hitting my preamp. That's the one thing is the preamp sometimes. There we go. Oh, that sucks. It's very ancient. I love this, and it's like such a beautiful sound. Like literally, it's just like. Sometimes I'll lose the rhythm a bit. Skip beats. I did mushrooms the other day, 2 days ago actually, and I had this epiphany about what I would call synchronized rhythm. And in the simplest right, in a synchronized rhythm, it more so relates to the rhythmic patterns. It's almost like what I recognized when I was on mushrooms is there's an element of synchronizing rhythm. This may make sense or may not. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Where when you're playing guitar, right, you play in a rhythmic pattern, like. And when you try to synchronize the rhythm of multiple instruments, so say you're playing a drum, or you're, say, playing a pan flute, or you're singing and you're playing guitar, there's a very particular, I would say, there's a particular rhythm that both elements need to be synchronized to. And basically what it speaks to is you have to map out the rhythms of both instruments perfectly and recognizing when they flow together, when they synchronize. And quintessentially, it also explains when they do not synchronize. And the simplest, right, it's basically what I recognize is for a lot of singing, right, if you sing to a song, you have to start the vocal statement like a quarter of a second, or vice versa. You start the guitar statement a quarter of a second before you start the vocal statement. So they're synchronized. And then throughout the song, you have to continuously sort of register the little moments when you have to sort of map out when the rhythm is synchronizing or not. And I recognize this because this is actually a major thing that I've been neglecting. I was like, word, when I'm like covering music, when I'm writing originals, sometimes I'm not conscious of rhythmic synchronization. And it's also the same way when I'm trying to integrate the drum. There's like key moments when one has to take a step back and focus on mapping out and synchronizing rhythm. So that was like a major epiphany for me. I'm glad I figured that out. Because like part of my recent intention recently is I want to, my next goal is to basically learn to, like I'm doing right now, like I'm like improvising. I want to learn to improvise vocals seamlessly on top of guitar, and particularly the style of guitar I play, where it's like, and I can sometimes do it, but I mean, I want to like master it to a point where like any vocal pattern that I do perfectly harmonizes and synchronizes with any guitar piece that I do. And at this point, I'm not nearly as strong as a vocalist as I am a guitarist, and I've recognized rhythmic synchronization is a major reason. Awkward angle in there. Yo, thank you so much. Yeah, it's got such a good resonance, I guess, with this. Welcome to this live stream. Sometimes it's interesting pulse with rhythm. I've actually found, particularly yes on LSD or Changa, it's like I definitely notice like an immediate, almost like a felt and visual context that applies or appears when I'm listening to music, like all music. But on shrooms, I've noticed it's almost like shrooms for me often usually translates into either bursts of creative energy where I'm like songwriting or I'm dancing or I'm just embodying nothingness. Like I find for me, shrooms for some reason has this innate ability to like switch off the mind. Changa also does this more than not, where I begin to just crave and honor simplism, where it's literally just like the deepest core of my being is just like, it's either I'm like, you know, engaging guitar songwriting or I'm going in a forest and just doing basically nothing and realizing how significant this is. It's interesting because I feel like for some people maybe that don't live near forest or have that ability, yeah, that don't have the ability to like basically be like in a forest and just like have that, you know, that ability to just like, yeah, just almost saturate their senses with the simplistic flow of nature. It's almost like you're missing out on the core part of the psychedelic experience in my mind. Feeling these like very slow. My favorite riffs. I mean, my go-to guitar riff, the one that I like to teach a lot, is basically just like utilizing the second string, the fifth fret. I've actually taught this a lot, where it's like I basically begin with like this riff where I'm like striking the open E and then sliding into the seventh, and then playing around the eighth, tapping the 12th, tapping the 15th, playing around the second, like, you know, 15, 12 region. But I would say like musically, I'm very attracted to, for some reason, I hear Last Samurai themes stuck in my head a lot, like Last Samurai soundtracks or movie scores. And yeah, like musically, where I'm like, my mind loves, it's in a different key. But in essence, for some reason I hear movie scores a lot, where like, let me just see if I can find the one. unless very legible. But I just, for some whatever reason, like I started rewatching The Last Samurai over and over and over again, like a couple months ago, and then since then I've just been obsessed with the movie score. I just hear that like, yeah, it was beautiful. It's the Hans Zimmerman one, like Hans Zimmerman theme. Yeah, another riff I love to play. Like I love to play around with these, like you can kind of see these tapping combinations where I'm like starting with doing like slap harmonics, and then I pop it here into this like fifth string. So I enjoy that a lot. And then sometimes what I like to do is, one of my favorite guitarists, he's this Japanese guitarist called Ichika Nito. And he likes to play these like very like silky jazz chords. So I find myself play around with these riffs a lot, where just for some reason, especially with the excess resonance, it's almost like a lo-fi jazz kind of sound. For some reason, it's like I'm either hopping around classical sounds, like, or I'm just popping around with like jazz inspired. See, so we are at an hour, 12:25. Got lots of time. It's interesting. I released a video like a couple days ago on this platform and TikTok where I was basically, it's almost funny because I didn't expect this video to perform very well.
Because I really need that rice cooker cleaned. I want to eat soon.
Okay, just yeah.
I can't wait much longer, dude. I need to do this.
But basically, yeah, where was my train of thought? Basically what I was doing was I was improvising this this video talking about improv, where I was like kind of in a place where I was like, under the impression I was like, I'm just making this kind of just to reach out to my niche viewers that are sort of new guitarist that this can kind of resonate with. But it was interesting how I noticed this actually it reached more viewers than most of my videos have gotten, where it was like somehow beautiful. That's amazing. Enjoy your walk in the snow, yeah. Yeah, in the simplest way, I've just really come to enjoy how just these niche dimensions of just talking about certain dimensions of like creative blocks and understanding improv, they seem to just be such a key thing to a lot of people. And I love hearing about that. Like I love hearing from musicians that are sort of like experiencing unique sort of creative blocks that I find and I found myself have over the years. Yeah, thank you so much, Angrabo Loki. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I really appreciate your energy and you chiming in here today. Beautiful. I'm going to take a breather here, but thank you so much for chiming in. Possibly, what I'm probably going to do is do a short stream where I'm roving in the forest, and then I'm probably going to do Lama Quaid and do a stream there. Amazing. Yes, thank you so much for chiming in. Hope you guys have an awesome day so far, and moving forward. And much love. Bless. Thank you so much. Thank you, brother.